For more insight into the BRICS Summit, Wang Yiwei joins me now. He's the director of the Institute of International Studies for Renmin University of China. Thank you very much for joining us, Wang. What do you think were the highlights for the first day at BRICS?
Well, of course, more than 60 countries participate in this summit. Talk about expansion of the BRICS. 10 years ago, actually, South Africa joined the BRICS. Now it's a second wave, but more than dozens of the countries show the interest to join. So how to make the standard for accept a new membership? I think that's the top priority of this summit. And they show they are angry or disappointed with the current, the U.S.-led Western order, particularly the U.S. dollar system. So they want to have a more maybe a common currency in the future, or how to do business mutually to bypass or hedging the
For those who aren't
system.
familiar with BRICS or know what BRICS is and what it's intended to do, just describe for us, what these nations want in terms of counterbalancing the Western dominance, how they might bridge some of these economic relationships in order to do that, and also the diplomatic angle as well.
Well, I don't think this is against the West. This is maybe the hedging the Western dominant system. As I mentioned, that the U.S. the raised interest rates for the dozens of times, which sells export the inflation, and so the many emerging countries actually very disappointed about this. And the polarization domestically of the U.S. politics is also where in the long term they need to the build of the system to balance or hedging, but not just replace actually, because the BRICS emphasize that consensus and also inclusive and openness of the multilateralism.
Russian President Vladimir Putin dominated the first day. He delivered his speech or a recorded message via a giant video screen in the convention center because he's wanted for war crimes under a warrant issued by the International Criminal Court. Putin spent some time rallying members for support in the conflict with Ukraine. Did that overshadow what BRICS is meant to be for, or is it helping to kind of reinforce that counterbalance that BRICS is trying to establish?
I think on the contrary, that the Ukraine crisis make the BRICS think about the public goods provided by the U.S. or the West is maybe public best. Like the kickoff, the SWIFT system of the Russia seized the property of the Russian people. As this make the other countries very afraid of that, like Saudi Arabia. So they're eager to join the BRICS for that kind of reason. So the Ukraine crisis make the global South actually more influenced. So that's the reason the BRICS is not just focused on economic cooperation, but also political influence.
Talk to us a little bit more about the expansion of BRICS. We know that dozens of countries want to join, some of which are Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, Egypt, Argentina. They're among the top that are being considered at the moment. What is the criteria to join BRICS, and how far is it willing to expand?
Well, we can learn the lessons from the European Union. 2004, the European Union expansion included the 10 countries of the Central and Eastern European countries, and then cannot digest, and then debt crisis happened. Even currently, they have a confrontation with Russia also because of that. So now we need to have, firstly, have the BRICS plus, the partners first, observer or then candidates to join. So this time, I think they talk about the standard to accept of the new membership.
Right. Wang Yiwei, thank you very much for your time. Director of the Institute of International Studies for Renmin University of China.